Amber, I'm so excited to be here with you today and talk about global wealth management, your role, and also global wealth women. Let's first start by just sharing a little bit about who you are and how you got into this industry.
Awesome. Well, thank you. I'm excited to be here as well. I got into the industry really early on, and seeing a little bit about my family upbringing and what that meant to me, but also this need for education and wanting to help others. And so I was raised, unfortunately, with a single mom, and good or bad and different, I learned an incredible amount about her and her strength and her ability. So I took a lot away from that and wanting to help individuals. But I also saw a lot of the struggle that she had as far as, and especially on the financial side and building wealth, individually, but also being prepared and ready for life and retirement and all the things that surround finances. So she was really that strength to what brought me here.
So one of the reasons why you chose to get into financial management and advising was because of your experience with being raised by a single mother?
Yeah, and again, to talk a little bit about the being prepared, we weren't raised with a whole lot, and we made do, and everything was actually really great. But I also want to make sure that women in general just have, whether or not you're single or divorced, married or widowed, to me, it's just having the confidence to be able to stand on 2 feet and know exactly that and feel confident that you're prepared for retirement and everything that surrounds it, not just retirement, but helping your parents, and elder care planning or college planning and education. So it's just having a sure plan around your financials.
So as you shared with me, and I've actually attended one of your events, Global Wealth Women was something that you started. Can you share a little bit with us about what is Global Wealth Women and what brought you to a point where you decided this is something that you really wanted to get moving and get going?
Yeah, great. So Global Wealth Women was, for me, it was always a burning fire inside that I wanted to reach out and work directly with women, probably because of my past. For many years prior to launching Global Wealth Women, I would attend these events, these large conferences, and it was men and women. And about a year and a half ago, I had the opportunity to go to a women-only event. And it was so powerful how different it was to not have men involved. I think women are able to break down a little bit more and get deeper and be more vulnerable with each other and figure out what it is that in the industry that they're trying to achieve and what their weaknesses are and what their strengths are. And it was such an incredible experience. And I not only felt empowered from that event, but I also felt that if we had a ladies-only platform to where we now don't have the fear, that we can break down and not be afraid to raise our hands and ask a question about, what is a stock or what is a bond, or things that may be so simple that they might fear that, they might not know, and so it was just such an event that, and I feel it in all of our events that we have with the women. It's I can feel that they are not intimidated, and that it is a platform and a safe place to go to not only learn, but also to build relationships with other women. So,
yeah. Well, I think it's really important, the work that you're doing, and what I really heard there was that not only empowerment, but helping women to be courageous in their lives and to make really important decisions for themselves and for their families, where maybe they had deferred those decisions to men in their lives. And so what are some of the things that you see happening at your Global Wealth Women's meetings that when you see it, you point out and you say, that's why I wanted to do this. This is the outcome I was searching for.
Yeah, good question. So I think historically men have been the breadwinner and the women have been the caretaker, and you still see that today, but it's not as prevalent. And but when you do run into those situations, it fears me that if something should ever happen, which men do have a shorter lifespan, on average than women do, that they just don't have any clue in what happens or what is going on in their financial situation. And I've seen it firsthand, and it's not easy. And then not only that, but the woman is at a very vulnerable point in their life where they need to address these things, but they have to be so trusting with that person. So, that's just one example of someone who I want to make them aware of what's going on in their situation. That way, when it is that time, God forbid, they have the grasp on what's going on, and they know, and they feel confident. They don't feel like they're at this vulnerable point and they have to make really tough decisions.
Well, and I think it's really important. I can personally state, I speak to this as a woman. I was single for 30 years and did just fine, but now I've been married for 12 years and having someone else to manage our money, I've deferred to him. And to have a woman that I can be vulnerable with and guide me in this process is very different, I think, than sitting down and being vulnerable with a man. And that's something that we don't always talk about, but I think there's some real truth to that.
Yeah. Well, Global Wealth Women was built by women for women, and I think we are bred differently to have different needs. And so, we think about things like from, longevity, not just how do I maintain my lifestyle, but what about my children, or leaving a legacy for my grandchildren, or again, taking care of parents. So we have different needs, and I think just being able to open up and express those things and really get down to it, and having that confidence, and not just be presented, some investments, but have a full plan around what you want to do.
So tell me, what is it that when women watch this, what is it you're hoping that they really take away? What key nugget or insight do you think is really important for women to understand?
I think the most important takeaway would be feeling and knowing that you have the ability in yourself to do this, and I remember when I got into the industry, how even though I studied it and I thought I knew what I was talking about, it was still very intimidating. And I can only imagine how intimidating it is for somebody who doesn't know anything about the financial industry to step into a meeting and disclose everything about their personal life and the finances, and then feel okay with it, and that I just want them to know that it is you do have the strength and ability to learn the industry and to get a grasp on it, because I think asking good questions and choosing the right financial advisor is going to give you empowerment to have a good plan for your future.
I've always said that having the right financial plan in place is freedom. It's about freedom. Money gives us the opportunity to make choices, and what I really hear you saying is a passion to help women have that kind of freedom in their lives. Yeah. How you are seeing things change in the way that men and women's roles in financial leadership in the home. What does that look like now? Maybe that was different from 10 years ago.
Yeah, so that's definitely changing. Women are becoming more and more involved into the financials of their family, and even if they're maybe not the lead person in that, they're definitely a deciding factor. So more often you have to cater toward what is it that the women are looking for inside their plan, because they're the ones that are going to make the decisions, and not always, but most of the time, they're a key influencer there. But also, you're seeing more and more women being the breadwinners. So they now have taken that lead and that role in providing financially, and so how do you create a plan around that and making sure that you have a sure future?
So from your experience, how does financial empowerment help women to be more courageous in their lives?
Just going back to confidence and knowing that, and I see it all the time where people are very diligent as far as saving, and they just put money away in their 401ks and other retirement plans, and then they don't really, they just save. And so having the ability to look a little bit deeper and know, hey, if I put away X amount of money for so many more years, that I am going to be able to live comfortably and not have to worry about whether or not I'm going to run out of money. I mean, that is a great feeling. I mean, that is something that everybody wants to know, is that they're not going to outlive their money. So when you have confidence in your financial plan and what you're doing, you can not worry so much about it. You can enjoy some other aspects of finances or of your life,
I think that's so important, and the courageous leader we talk about, the courage to be confident. I think that's something that you're really tapping in here on, is that women have this opportunity, and the financial world is this part of their life, is one of those aspects where if they can lean in and take responsibility around their finances, they open up other aspects and opportunities for themselves.
Sure, absolutely.
So thank you so much for talking with us and spending time helping to kind of break down some of the myths and barriers that we perceive around financial freedom for women, and being a role model for financial freedom for women in our world.
Thanks for having me.